Birth of a nation, tonsure, wearing the dress, these are all Christian rituals. Okay? And people get it wrong when they start thinking that the solution is run to Jesus. That's who Catholic Hollywood is. This is what you don't know. That's who Catholic Hollywood is. And then they tell you, you better be scared and run to Jesus because Hollywood is so crazy. Hollywood is the Catholic Church. Hollywood is the Klan. All you gotta do is look at the outfits that Hollywood wear or the Klan wears and look at the outfits that the Catholic Church wear. They wear the same outfits. We don't know that. So we're going to talk about a little history of Hollywood, how Hollywood really started, because we really don't know. We really don't know the answer to that. We just think, it came around and people started watching movies, and we don't know how or why it really started. And so it's important to know how it started and why it started, and the power that it has over people. So the very first movie that ever came out, I know nobody's going to get this right. The very first movie that ever came out, 12 reel movie, okay, motion picture, was called The Klansman. Like the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah. That's the original, very first movie that ever came out. It's called The Klansman. They changed the name of it to Birth of a Nation. Okay. This is the very first 12 reel film that came out. And what's a 12 reel film? That's a film that is on those 12 reels, those big circles, and they hold the film. And what they would do before that is they had movies out before that, but they weren't the 12 reel film. They were more like miniseries, and they'd have a film, and then it would stop, and then the next week you came back to the theater, and it was to be continued every time, and it was just always this to be continued. It was more like a miniseries almost than just like a 2-hour, 3-hour film. So the very first 2-3 hour film that came out was called Birth of a Nation. Well, that's the new name, because it originally was called The Klansman. The Klansman, like the Ku Klux Klan, the Klansman. And it's about the Klan. Okay? So that was the very first movie that came out in Hollywood. Okay? See, Hollywood is really Catholic. We just don't know that. And we don't know anything about Birth of a Nation. We don't know what a tonsure ritual is, which is basically to just summarize it, is the cutting of your hair. There's a few different things that people in Hollywood have to do if they're going to be successful in Hollywood. And one of them is you're going to have to cut your hair. There's no famous actor or actress who has not played a role where they had to cut off all their hair. Not no leading role. You might have been an extra, played some little small role and didn't have to cut your hair. Now, if you want to be the leading man, you got to cut your hair. Period. It's just one of the rituals, because it's a ritual. It's called tonsure, and I'm gonna do a separate video about exactly what tonsure is. Okay, because it's a Christian ritual. The wearing of the dress. Everybody's familiar with that, because the only way you get to be a so-called black man in Hollywood is if you put on a dress. You can't be famous in Hollywood as a so-called black man without putting on a dress. Oh, you can be a white man and you don't got to wear a dress if you put on. Why? Because they're not trying to cut his. They're not trying to cut him off by the what. They're not trying to do that to him. They're trying to do that to us. But there's a reason for that. And it goes back to history and in Catholic Hollywood, and how Hollywood became Hollywood to begin with, and how where it all started. And again, the very first movie that ever came out is called The Klansman, and everybody can go watch it. And what is it about? It's about the Klan saving the so-called white woman from the evil black man who's just so thirsty for her that he wants to rape her at every chance he ever gets. Right? This is their stereotype of us. Right? This is what their movie was about. Anybody can go watch it. They changed the name from The Klansman to The Birth of a Nation because for a couple reasons. They made it The Birth of a Nation because this is actually when the white nation, the so-called white nation, was when it was born in 1914. It really wasn't even born until then, but we don't know that because we don't know our history. We think that so-called white people came over and corralled up 20 million so-called black people and brought us over in slave ships, and we not even from here. We don't believe that. We don't understand that. We don't know our real history. So that's a whole nother video within itself, and I wrote a book about that. It's called Lost Along the Way. You should read it. lostalongtheway.org. But Catholic Hollywood, Birth of a Nation, tonsure, wearing the dress, these are all Christian rituals. Okay? And people get it wrong when they start thinking that the solution is run to Jesus. That's who Catholic Hollywood is. This is what you don't know. That's who Catholic Hollywood is. And then they tell you, you better be scared and run to Jesus because Hollywood is so crazy. Hollywood is the Catholic Church. Hollywood is the Klan. All you gotta do is look at the outfits that Hollywood wear or the Klan wears, and look at the outfits that the Catholic Church wear. They wear the same outfits. We don't know that. The Klan made a plan, and when I say the Klan, we also talking about the church. It's one and the same. To make it to where so-called black men, because they used to openly fight us, and it wasn't a secret. They used to openly fight us, and they made a plan to make it to where we wouldn't fight back. We would turn into their little, we would turn into they who won't fight back. And this is what they've been doing successfully. They cooked this into integration in the 1960s. This is what the whole divide is, and why they made a holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. And this is what the divide is between Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam, and Martin Luther King Jr. Because it's most of us was like, we got to fight back. We can't just sit up here and take this. And then Martin Luther King, the good Christians in the New Testament all say, no, you don't fight back. Non-violence is the way. They gave you an example in India and said, follow that. Here's an example. Look, it worked over here. It'll work for you. Try it. You guys try it too. And we don't even understand how the Hindus was working with them. We don't even understand how that part worked out, how they was working together and mind controlling us together. Because they doing pretty good over here, bringing the Hindus over here. They doing real good over here, doing better than us. And this is our land. Okay? But we don't see that. Because we don't know the history of Hollywood. We don't know how it started. We don't know our history. We don't know who we really are. We don't know that integration was just a big trap. Martin Luther King Jr. told us to let your bully you and just turn the other cheek when your bully hits you. I got bullied. I didn't let my bully me. I stopped that. I got tired of it. I let my bully me for a while until the day he decided he's going to take my lunch money. And when he decided that, I was like, this is enough. I'm not about to let you take my lunch money from me. Nope. That was my last straw. I was scared of him. He's way bigger than me, way taller. I was scared of him. It's 5th grade. He tried to take my lunch money, and I told him no. And he said, you better give me that lunch money. And I jumped up and hit him in his face. And he fell right down. And I jumped on top of him and started teaching him a lesson. And he didn't bully me no more after that. But see, they teach us, one, that you go tell on the teacher. You don't fight back. You don't defend yourself. You go call the police. You don't fight back. Right? This is what they teaching us. Protest by marching. They hit you with something, you march. You get hit with the fire hoses, you march. They sick their dogs on you, you just get ate up by the dogs and keep marching. This what they taught us. This is what they taught us. And then they said, look, see, it worked. We're gonna leave you alone. And then they never left us alone. Or because if they did, then what's Black Lives Matter all about? How many years? 60 years later? I mean, be serious. The Old Testament said an eye for an eye, but we don't believe in the Old Testament. The Old Testament, before the Christians took over so-called black people and gave us their Bible, because we didn't never read the New Testament, we had the Old Testament. They brought in the New Testament and told us an eye for an eye. They told us, don't believe that eye for an eye, turn the other cheek. Right? But we don't know how so-called white people got their freedom from us. And we don't even know that we don't even know that they had, that we was in control. We don't even know that. Hollywood has a way of mind controlling people and mind controlling us. They've been trying to scare us out of helping women because of fear that some type of backlash will happen. Well, you can't do this because this might happen. And you have to be careful of this because this might happen. And you're always worried about something, and you're worried about doing the right thing because this might happen. This is what Hollywood, they do. And they not just Hollywood, they control social media. They've been pushing this generation through the internet, social media, through their education, the pandemic, the closing, the songs, to be antisocial. They've been teaching this newer generation to be completely antisocial, not have no kids, not have no new friends, not have no new relationships, to be totally, oh, I did it all on me. Didn't nobody help me. Yeah, but get out of here. I mean, this is what they doing. This is what they doing. They do this. They push this entitlement agenda to make everybody not want to work for the little guy who can't afford to pay, the entitled, and make them have to come work for them. This is what they do. Why do the so-called black men the only people who have to wear a dress? Because the only accepted men are so-called white men. The only accepted men who are straight and strong are so-called white men on television. This don't mean it's the truth. This just means what they show you on TV. This just means what they show you. See? And we equate what we see on TV with reality. See, we've got a group of Christians who've been took over. We've been taken over, and we don't understand how this whole Hollywood thing really works and who's really in charge of Hollywood. Right? We don't get it. The weak have been put in charge of the strong, and we don't understand why, and we don't understand how. The red and the blue only make the purple, which is the color of the royals, which is the royal race. When they're united, red and blue make purple, the color of the royal race. The white of the French revolutionist flag separates the red from the blue. It's time for us to get it together and to figure out what's going on. Hollywood's not your friend. Hollywood is put in place to destroy you. It's time to figure this thing out, so-called black people. Find out who you are. Go to lostalongtheway.org. Find out your true history. Peace and love.
This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.